15 years. 15 years I waited for a word from her, for a glance, a smile. Instead, I heard her voice like a blade slicing through my chest. "You're not my daughter anymore. How do you carry a sentence like that? How do you live when someone who gave you life refuses to recognize it? Every memory twists in pain." My childhood laughter echoes with absence. The house I grew up in feels like a museum of loss, each corner haunted by her silence. And yet, beneath the fury and the hurt, a tiny pulse of hope flickers. What would you say to someone who stopped waiting for you? My phone lies on the table, 15 years. And it rings. I drop to the couch, heart hammering as if my chest had been emptied and refilled with sharp stones. 15 years of longing, and one sentence wiped it all away. Anger bubbled, uncontainable. But beneath it, a hollow ache that felt older than the pain itself. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Memories of laughter, bedtime stories, the way her hands used to hold mine. They collided with the sharpness of her words. Can love survive absence? Can a heart survive the silence of someone who should have been everything? I stayed there, clutching myself, wondering if I had been waiting for a ghost. I wandered to the kitchen, staring at a mug I hadn't used in years. The room was quiet except for my uneven breathing. I thought about calling her back, shouting, demanding answers. But my fingers froze over the keypad. What would I even say? Why did you erase me from your life? Or maybe, do you even remember me at all? Anger and fear twisted together. A tight knot in my stomach. I felt suspended in time, trapped between what was and what could never be again. And still, the phone lay there, vibrating softly, holding a hope I didn't dare touch. I sank onto the floor, back against the cabinets, knees pulled to my chest. 15 years had passed, and yet it felt like yesterday. The last time I had called her Mom. And she had hung up on me, her voice sharp with finality. I remembered crying in my room, pleading silently for her to love me, to see me. Did she even know the weight of those years? Every moment I spent hoping for her, every birthday, every holiday, it was all stacked against me now, heavy as stones. How many miles does regret travel before it finds home? I finally let my hands fall to my sides, my fingers brushing the cold tile. The room was quiet again, yet inside me, a storm raged. Rage, grief, disbelief. And then, like a fragile pulse in the darkness, a whisper of hope. Maybe she was calling. Maybe this wasn't the end. My chest tightened as I picked up the phone, trembling. 15 years. 15 years of nothing. And maybe, just maybe, a chance for something more. Could I forgive? Could I even face her after all? This time, the scent of old paper hit me first. Boxes in the attic, stacked and forgotten, held fragments of a life I had tried to leave behind. Letters in her handwriting yellowed with age, some carefully folded, others crumpled in anger or despair. I hesitated, fingertips hovering over the ink. Could I read them without collapsing under the weight of years? Every word carried echoes of laughter, scoldings, bedtime whispers, echoes that made the absence feel heavier. Could I ever separate the love from the pain? I found a photo album, its leather cover worn and cracked. I flipped through it slowly, each page a confrontation. Birthdays, family trips, small moments of ordinary joy I had once taken for granted. I could feel her presence there, smiling at me, holding me close. The anger that had been my shield wavered. Could resentment and love exist side by side? Could I love her even as I remembered the words that shattered me? And then I saw her name scribbled on a friend's social media post. She looked older, yes, but fragile, a shadow of the woman I remembered. A pang of guilt cut through my chest. Had she suffered alone these years? Did she regret the distance she created? Part of me wanted to turn away, but another part ached to know the truth. How much had she missed? How much had I? I walked through my life as if it were a series of echoes. Every achievement, every joy, every partner, each shadowed by a silent question. Would she have been proud? It was as if her absence had carved a space inside me, impossible to fill. And still, in the quiet moments, I could almost hear her voice calling my name. Almost. Then it happened, an unfamiliar number flashing on the screen. My heart leapt and sank at once. Could it be her or someone else? I froze, fingers trembling, imagining the voice I had waited 15 years to hear. The room seemed impossibly still, and yet it hummed with a quiet anticipation. 15 years of silence condensed into one moment. Was I ready? Could I even face her now? The phone rang and my world tilted. 15 years of silence condensed into a trembling voice on the other end. "It's me. I'm sorry," she whispered, her words cracking under the weight of her own guilt. I wanted to hang up, to yell, to run, but my fingers gripped the phone like a lifeline. 15 years, one voice. And suddenly, all those years of anger, all the nights of crying, felt like a fragile bridge, ready to collapse, or finally connect. Could I hear her pain without letting mine consume me? Her voice faltered, choked with emotion. "I never stopped thinking about you. I was wrong. So wrong. I didn't know if I could forgive her. And yet, a part of me, the part that had been starving for this moment, wanted to reach out." My chest tightened, mind spinning between fury and longing. How do you reconcile 15 years of absence with a single apology? Can a heart broken for so long remember how to love again? I thought I was protecting you," she confessed, voice shaking, barely audible. "But I was afraid, and I pushed you away. I don't want to lose you forever." I sat in stunned silence. Protecting me? Afraid? For 15 years, I had lived in a shadow of her absence, and now she spoke of fear and regret. Could her love survive the damage she had done? Could mine survive the betrayal? Memories flooded me. Bedtime stories, birthday candles, mornings when she held me close. I remembered warmth, laughter, and then the sudden cold. 15 years of absence weighed down my chest like stones. "Why now?" I asked, my voice breaking. Silence on the other end. And then, barely audible, "Because I can't bear it anymore. I miss you." And in that moment, the ache of lost years became almost unbearable, yet threaded with a fragile hope. I closed my eyes, gripping the phone as if it could hold her presence close. Could I forgive her? Could I face her after all this time? 15 years of silence. 15 years of silence. 15 years of longing, condensed into one trembling voice. The answer was uncertain, yet undeniable. A small pulse of hope, fragile but alive. Could we rebuild what time already took? Could love survive the years we had lost? I packed my bag in silence. Each item a marker of who I had become during 15 years apart. Clothes, toiletries, a photograph of us together. The fragile bridge between past and present, my heart pounded with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Could I face her after all this time? Would she look the same? Or had the years carved her into someone unrecognizable? I had no answers, only the journey ahead and the knot of longing and dread in my chest. The train hummed beneath me as the city blurred past, each mile carrying memories I had tried to forget. The world outside moved, but inside, time felt frozen. 15 years of questions, regrets, and longing pressed against my chest, Could a single meeting mend this chasm, or would it only remind me of all that had been lost? I clutched the ticket, knuckles white, heart beat loud in the small carriage. When I arrived, the town was quiet, familiar yet foreign. Streets I once knew as a child looked smaller, older. My heart thumped as I walked toward her house. The key to 15 years of silence, now a question. Could we remember what it felt like to be mother and daughter, or would the years of absence weigh too heavily between us? I reached her doorstep trembling. The door loomed like a wall I had built inside myself for 15 years. I raised my hand, heart hammering, and knocked. Seconds stretched into eternity. Would she open it? Could we bridge this gap with a single embrace? Or would it remain the hollow echo of what was lost? A door opening could change everything. Or nothing. The door creaked open. She stood there, older, fragile, eyes wide with the same disbelief I felt. Time had etched lines into her face. And yet, she was still her. My breath caught. For a moment, the years vanished, leaving only the two of us, trembling on the edge of reconnection. Could we step across that threshold together? Could love survive the silence of 15 years? I stepped inside, heart pounding, and she closed the door gently behind me. The air between us was heavy, filled with 15 years of words unsaid, of love denied. Why? I whispered, barely audible. Why did you push me away? She looked at me, her eyes glistening, mouth trembling. I was scared. Of failing you, of myself, she admitted. The words hung between us, fragile and raw. Could I face the truth without crumbling under its weight? I took a hesitant step forward, anger and longing warping my voice. 15 years. Do you know what it feels like to grow up without your mother? The words trembled with emotion. She sank into a chair, burying her face in her hands, and whispered, I know. I know. And I am sorry every single day. Silence stretched, punctuated only by our ragged breathing. The chasm between us seemed immense, yet it trembled, ready to shift. I couldn't help it. I collapsed into the chair opposite her, our eyes meeting for the first time in years. Tears flowed freely, words failed us, and yet the weight of the past began to lift, just slightly. I missed you, she whispered, voice cracking. And I hate that I let you grow up without me. I wanted to scream, to forgive, to hold her all at once. Could we reclaim the years we lost, even a little? She told me everything. The fears, the regrets, the nights she cried alone wishing she could turn back time. Her voice was raw, trembling, honest. I was wrong to push you away. You were my life. And I threw it all away. My own tears mingled with hers. I wanted to hate her, to leave. But the warmth of that vulnerability was undeniable. Could forgiveness survive this storm of emotion? Could I let her in after all these years? Nearer, I finally spoke, voice soft but steady. I don't know if I can forgive everything yet, but I want to try. She reached her hand across, hesitant, trembling. I took it. Our fingers intertwined, fragile, imperfect, but alive. 15 years of silence and pain began to dissolve, one breath at a time. Could love truly survive 15 years of absence? Perhaps it could, if we were brave enough to let it. The morning felt different. Sunlight spilled across the kitchen, and for the first time in years we sat together without the weight of words unspoken pressing down. Small gestures, pouring tea, passing a plate, became acts of reconnection. Each motion was a reminder that the bridge between us, fragile though it was, could hold. Could we truly rebuild what had been broken? One quiet act at a time, we walked through the garden. Tentative laughter, slipping through the tension like sunlight. Stories were shared in fragments, small memories, shared smiles, moments that had been lost but could now be remembered together. The air felt lighter, and I realized that love, though tested, could find its way back if nurtured with patience. Could we let go of the fear that had kept us apart? We cooked together, fumbling over measurements and utensils, laughter spilling into the kitchen. For a moment, it felt like nothing had ever been broken. The past existed, yes, but it no longer defined every interaction. Tiny acts of care, shared smiles, and clumsy humor became the foundation of something new. Could we build a life together after 15 years apart? We sat in the living room, leafing through old photo albums. This time, the memories were not painful. They were bridges to laughter, understanding, and shared history. I realized that healing was not instantaneous, but every shared smile and tear was a step forward. Could we allow ourselves to feel joy again after so much pain? That evening, we watched the sun set from the porch, shoulders brushing, hearts lighter than they had been in years. The silence between us was no longer heavy. It was comfortable, a quiet testament to what we had survived and what we could now build. 15 years of pain could not be erased, but perhaps it could coexist with something gentler, something stronger. Could love endure if we chose it every day? I sat by the window, sunlight warming my face, thinking about the 15 years that had passed. The pain was still there, etched into memory, but it no longer ruled me. The distance that had once seemed unbridgeable now felt like a road we had traveled together, step by step. Could love heal the scars of absence? Could we carry both the pain and the joy forward? Mother and I cooked together again, our movements almost instinctive, laughter spilling naturally. The awkwardness of the past had faded, replaced by something quieter, deeper. It was no longer about fixing the past. It was about embracing the present. Could we finally be just mother and daughter, free of the shadows that had haunted us? We sat on the porch in the evening, sipping tea, watching the world soften in the twilight. Our conversations were lighter now, shared stories, laughter, gentle teasing. The bridge we had rebuilt felt steady, yet delicate, a reminder of what had been lost and what had been reclaimed. Could we finally carry this fragile trust into the future? I reflected on the years of longing, anger, and grief. They had shaped me, yes, but they had also made this moment possible. The chance to love and be loved again. Forgiveness wasn't instant, but it was growing, quietly, like sunlight through clouds. Could 15 years of absence become a story of resilience? Not just pain. That evening, we embraced as the sun dipped below the horizon. A simple gesture carrying a universe of meaning. 15 years apart could not erase the bond we shared. We had survived absence, anger, and fear, and now we faced the future together, fragile, imperfect, but alive. Could love endure? Yes, it always had. And now, more than ever, it would.